All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I still got a few people I got to send the invitation to, but I'll do so once we get started with our open house. So welcome everyone. We really do appreciate you joining us tonight. I know we would all like to be in the schools right now, but because of the pandemic, we're making the best out of our current situation. So we're making lemonade out of lemons. And this is I think our third virtual open house. But I am excited to see students on this open house because this is the first time that we've seen students. And working in education, that's what we enjoy doing, is being around students. So it's a joy to see them. Now, I heard a few of you mention that I was the principal. I'm actually the director of admissions. So I'm the person that you've been communicating with and helping you get registered. So we do have our principals on tonight's call, and tonight you'll get an opportunity to meet them. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint, and we still have families coming in. So I just wanna make sure everybody gets an opportunity to jump on before we get started. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. All right, can everyone see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. I took the awkward silence as a yes. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so again, welcome to our July open house. And before we get started, I have a video for everyone to see.
Can't really hear it well.
Who are those people? This is a video?
Yeah, I don't think the bandwidth is up for this.
Yeah, Brandon, I'm not sure the video is coming through really well. It's super skipping.
Really? All right, because on my end, it's playing through. You guys aren't getting it good?
No, the sound is funny. We might want to make sure everyone is muted. That could help.
Yeah, so everyone, please mute your microphones.
Brandon, it doesn't sound like it's interference coming through. It's lag time and jumpy.
Okay.
It sounds like it's internet.
Okay, that sucks. We tried to show this last time and had issues. So what we'll do is we'll put this link in our chat so everyone can see. But it's a great video, so I do encourage everyone to check it out, especially now that we're not able to get into our building. As you can see right here where I put push pause, this is our cafeteria. And those murals you can find throughout the building, and it's very important for us to offer an environment that's very vibrant and welcoming to our students. So I highly recommend that you check out the video once our open house is over. So can someone from the team please post the link in the chat, please?
I'll do it, Brandon. I'll post it in the chat.
All right, thanks, Naya.
You're welcome.
All right, so we'll move forward. So our mission statement at Monarch is we educate the whole child by empowering students to embrace diversity, inspire curiosity, and cultivate compassion. Exceptional education for every learner. Now, to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, I want to introduce to you our principal, Ms. Rachel Amstutz.
Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry, I was having a little bit of internet trouble there too. So I'm off video right now to try to mitigate the internet. But we fully recognize that there's a very large elephant in the schoolhouse when we talk about school right now, and that is about COVID-19 and the impacts of COVID-19 on schooling. So just last week, the superintendent for Anne Arundel County Public Schools presented a plan for the fall to the Board of Education, and that plan is posted on Anne Arundel County's website, and you can watch the discussion that occurred around it. But broadly, the announcement was all Anne Arundel County Public Schools will be in virtual learning for the first semester of the school year. And we just got that information last week. At Monarch Annapolis, we've been planning for this scenario since about March, actually, with the launch of our eSchool, which we'll talk about a little bit later tonight. But basically, we wanted to open with this slide to tell you that we don't have all the answers yet. We have more answers this week than we did last week, but we are still waiting on more details to be released from the county to fully be able to tell you what will a day look like. We have some good ideas, but to be able to give you definite information, we are waiting to get more information from the Board of Education regarding the structure of the school day. But tonight we think that we'll be able to give you a lot of great information to help you understand our school and what makes our school different from other schools in our programming and the opportunities that we provide for our students. So throughout the evening, we'll be answering questions, and we will try our best to answer any questions about virtual learning and what that will look like. But we just wanted to address this up front so that you know we're working through it as soon as we get information to make plans and to be able to make the best of the virtual learning experience to ensure that your children are learning at the highest levels possible.
Thank you, Rachel. So next we have a slide on what's new at Monarch Academy.
So this again is me getting to tell you about some fun new things that are coming to our school this year. One of them is the way that we will deliver our Spanish language and culture class. So this year, well, last year, the students went to a separate Spanish and culture class, and we realized that we wanted to integrate that into the student day. So we're partnering with a company this year that will actually pair our homeroom teachers with a teacher from Central or South America, and they'll be paired for the year. And that person will video conference in and teach a Spanish and culture lesson and provide resources to support that. We did pilot this with a group of kids, and it was kid tested and kid approved. They really enjoyed the experience and meeting the teacher and learning vocabulary and beginning to speak Spanish. So we do offer a second language. Spanish is our second language, and this year there will be native speakers joining our classes to help provide this instruction in the homeroom classroom. The second new thing at Monarch Academy Annapolis is a course called Canopy. Canopy will be an arts integrated social emotional learning course. So across the county, we are rolling out the second step social emotional curriculum. And at our school, we chose to take it a step further and to provide an hour a week of dedicated time where students get to come and practice these social emotional skills through the use of arts integration. So drama, dance, art, music, all of those activities will be used to help students learn empathy and conflict resolution and how to be a good learner. So we are super excited about these two new program features that we're launching this year. And we can't wait to bring them to our students and to see our students just love and enjoy these opportunities in these classes.
Thank you, Rachel. And what we've been waiting on for a while now, we now offer pre-K at Monarch Academy Annapolis. Rachel, if you want to talk a little bit about pre-K.
One more time with me going, then you'll get to meet the rest of the team. Pre-K, we applied for and were granted an expansion grant for pre-K through the Maryland State Department of Education. And we are authorized to have up to 4 classes this year of pre-K students. So we are actively registering for 4-year-olds. And the way that this grant works is that there is an income eligibility component to the program, or we have tuition paid seats available as well. So if you have a child who will be 4 by a certain date in September, we will be able to offer them preschool and pre-kindergarten at our school this year.
Thanks, Rachel. So next, we're going to get an opportunity to learn a little bit about the staff. So first, I have our eSchool and eSchool and MAA teacher, Miss Erin Trost.
Hi there, guys. I am Erin Trost. I'm one of the eSchool teachers at MAA this year. I actually taught the Spanish integration class last year, and now I'm moving to this position. You might be getting a few emails from me about all the summer partnerships and things we're doing. So make sure you check out for all the fun stuff coming from Monarch this year.
Thank you, Erin. And next we have our parent liaison and admissions coordinator, Tatiana Santos.
Hi, everybody. Hi, kids. I'm so happy to see so many little ones on the screen today. It's fun. A little bit about my role. I am staff. I'm also a parent. I have 2 kids that will be attending Monarch. This will be my 3rd kid going through Monarch. One will be entering 3rd grade and one will be coming into kindergarten. So I wear many different hats at Monarch. Basically, my job is to help support the families. I am kind of your bridge between school and home. Anything you need, you can reach out to me and I can assist with that, whether it's setting up a meeting, somebody didn't feel good on the way to school in the morning, you want me to go just see how they're doing, I'm your eyes at the school. Equal language access, so I am bilingual, so my job also entails trying to make sure that everything is bilingual in English and in Spanish, equal language access. You might hear from me as well as far as communication. I do a lot of the bilingual Connect Ed messages, the phone calls you get saying, hello parents of Monarch Academy Annapolis, so I would do those a lot bilingually. Other than that, like building a school community is really what I love to do. I do a lot of events at the school, to name a few, like an Easter egg hunt, daddy-daughter dance, mother-son game night, holiday parties, Hispanic heritage festivals, you name it, whatever you guys want to do, I'm kind of here to help with it because I want this school to be not just a school, but like a school community. I want us to all come together on several occasions throughout the year and just enjoy our kids and the school. As far as admissions, I work under Mr. Turner here, working with him in admissions. You might get phone calls from me. Some of you have come in over the summer recently to have one-on-one registrations or tours that I'm doing by appointment only, or you just got a phone call with me, just checking in to see how you guys are doing with the registration. I know everything is new because it's online, but I'm just here to help. So anything you need, I'm your girl.
Thank you, Ms. Santos. Next, I would like to introduce to you Ms. Naya Curtis.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. So like Brandon said, Mr. Curtis said, my name is Naya Curtis. I work along with Tatiana and a few other folks, Ratasha and Alina, in our main office. I'm one of the secretaries at Monarch, but in addition to being a secretary, I do wear multiple hats, just like you'll probably hear everybody say as you meet them tonight. So one of the main things, like I said, that I do is I'm an attendance secretary. So when you come into the school, or as we start eSchool in the fall, and then hopefully when we get back into the school, I'll be the first person you see for attendance if your child had a doctor's appointment and you're coming in a little bit later, if you needed to turn in a sick note, or if your child's just checking in, you want to say, hey, I noticed my child was marked absent on this day, but really my child was there. That's what you would come to me for, and I'd be able to help you out with that. In addition to being an attendance secretary, like I said, I support a lot of different things in the school. So I also help with registration. Earlier, you may have gotten some phone calls from me as well, in addition to Tatiana and Mr. Turner. In addition to that, I also help with the behind the scenes of registration. So you may see me helping Miss Tatiana out when she's doing registrations in the school, or even Miss Ruiz as she's doing things that have to occur with registrations. Lastly, on Thursdays, Tatiana and I actually, or the school does a food drive. So I help out with that as well. So if you're interested and you're in the area, we do a food drive every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's totally free. You can come out and get some food. also maybe even meet some of the staff members, because we do have staff members in addition to volunteers that come out and assist with that. And then last but not least, I do our social media. So we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, and we also have a Twitter. So our Instagram is Monarch Academy Schools, our Facebook is Monarch Academy, and our Twitter is Monarch AACPS. And don't worry, I'll post those in the chat so that you can see exactly how everything's spelled. Definitely follow us. I have my phone here to see who chimes in while we're on the open house. But in addition to that, welcome to Monarch. In addition, I'm glad to see a lot of smiling faces, little faces too. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Naya. And I'll just echo what Naya said. I know everyone in here has some platform of social media. So please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And also, as we continue to connect with our families and grow Monarch Academy as a community school, you know, reach out to us. Let us know about your businesses and the different things that you do in the community. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to connect with our families, and we're looking to grow as a community school. All right, so next I'd like to introduce Miss Ratasha Harley. She's actually not with us tonight. So I'll actually introduce Miss Naya, and then we'll go back and talk a little bit about Ratasha's role at the school.
Brandon, I think you reintroduced me, so I think we were introducing Miss Alina.
Alina, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Alina's gonna kill me. I'm sorry, Alina.
It's all right. Not going to do anything to you. You got a lot of juggling balls going on here. So my name is Miss Ruiz, Miss Alina Ruiz, and I'm the registration secretary here at Monarch Annapolis. Like everybody else, I have a great team that I work with, and teamwork makes the dream work. Everybody helps me, and I try to help them as much as possible too. In the front office, I'm also a parent. I have 2 students who go to Monarch Annapolis, and what I wanted to say is go over the registration portion and how you apply. And Brandon, if you could go back a couple of slides.
Yes.
So the way you get started is you apply, you go to AACPS, and you can find charter schools, and it will take you to this page to log in. The information that you need to do is to start a new account, and you would put in your information and your students can you go back one?
Yep.
So it's the student's lunch ID and then your student's birthday in the year, month, and birthday order. To start kindergarten, your student must be 5 before September 1st. And to start pre-K now, your student must be 4 before September 1st. We are bringing in applications on a weekly basis, and we are sending out offer letters on a weekly basis as well. You can decide when to get into magnet tracking, whether you want to choose our eSchool option, and that's towards the end where you decide. And eSchool, we're going to go over it a little bit later, but it's going to be 80% virtual and 20% in-school optional. And as a registration secretary, if you have any questions regarding your student's application, regarding the registration process, if you are missing any documents, you can be sure to send them to me. You can let me know if you're having trouble accessing something. And as far as transfers go, I'm also in communication with all the area schools, letting them know that you guys are going to be joining us. You can also let them know, or I will be in touch with all the area schools as well. As we're doing everything remotely, anything can be emailed to me or updated on DocuSign. Like Mr. Turner just posted up this is the DocuSign login page, and you just put in your information, and it's a pretty simple process. You just start entering a regular, we call it the SR run, what's basically the registration form, and upload your documents. You might want to have all your documents on hand when you get started, and that's like the birth certificate, your driver's license, your students' immunizations, and your proofs of residency. If you have any questions about any of those things, any of us can answer those questions for you, and I will be putting my email for you so you can contact me directly.
Thank you, Alina. And I know everyone has questions about the application process and the registration process. You want to make sure you've done everything right. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions. And if you feel like, you know, somebody hasn't gotten back to you in a reasonable time, please don't hesitate to send a follow-up email. You know, we're getting a lot of emails and text messages and calls at this time. So, you know, please be patient with us, but we're definitely trying to make sure that we follow up with every single individual and make sure we give them, you know, premium customer service. So some conversations may last 2 minutes, some conversations may last 30 minutes to an hour, but we make sure that we go above and beyond for all of our families, especially me. I'll make sure I'll leave my contact information in the chat. I'm available 7 days out of the week. I'm hesitant to say 7 days, but we're so close to the start of school that I want to make sure, because I truly believe that Monarch Academy Annapolis is the best option for our families in the Anne Arundel County and Annapolis area. So I really want to work with our families and help them. I had a great conversation with the family on Friday, which was my birthday. But, you know, we had a 30-minute conversation. I felt it was necessary, and I hope the family thought it was valuable. So we're here to go above and beyond, so don't hesitate to reach out to us. All right, so next I'd like to introduce our school counselor, Miss Nikki Johnson.
All righty, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All righty, so welcome marvelous Monarch families, and welcome to all of our scholars. We are happy that everyone was able to join us this evening and learn a little bit more about one of the best schools in Anne Arundel County. So there's a quote that says, educating the mind without educating the heart is like no education at all. So if you let that quote sink in just a little bit, most of the time when you think about schools and academic success, you think only on what they're going to learn academically. A lot of times our minds don't focus right away to the social emotional wellness of our children, but we want you as parents and caregivers, we want our educators at Monarch Academy Annapolis and anyone connected to our school to always have in the forefront of our head the importance of educating the hearts of our children. If our students are not socially and emotionally well, then really no academic success is going to take place. So I have the wonderful opportunity to serve as the school counselor for Monarch, and I've been here since we started 3 years ago. We're going into our 4th year. I'm also a parent like Miss Tatiana and a few of our other staff members at Monarch. So what I speak for Monarch, I believe it. My children attend Monarch, and I'm very satisfied as a parent. I know Ms. Amstutz mentioned about our new course called the Canopy course. I think that is a wonderful way to bridge together integrating the arts as well as integrating social emotional wellness. I think all parents on the screen tonight, as well as educators and staff members, would agree that we're all living in a time where adults and children need social emotional skills to be able to maneuver through life. Before, you might find a student that was experiencing trauma for something specific they had been through or experiencing levels of anxiety. But if we were truthful with ourselves, everybody's experiencing a level of trauma and a level of anxiety in the time we're living in. So I would like for you guys to be rest assured that we put the social emotional wellness of your children first at Monarch. It's not just something we say, it's definitely something we do every single day. So I'm available. I do have a web page that you can take a look at. It does give some resources on coping skills, some COVID-19 resources that you could currently use with your students, and I will post that in the chat in just a minute. But just know that we are here for your children. We look forward to building relationships with them. And even though we will be on a virtual platform when we start, we do have some fun things in place like snack chats and the use of some electronic journaling and different things that we're going to do to make sure that they are socially and emotionally well. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to just say hi and introduce myself. And we are looking forward to working with your children for the upcoming school year. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Nikki. I'm surprised you don't have your daughters with you tonight.
They're actually here. I keep telling them to go that way. So when you see me kind of look over, it's me telling them to go that way because they heard other children were on the screen. So one of them said, I'm a Monarch student. I said, I know you're a Monarch student. So they might come in and say hi before it's all over with.
Yeah, we would love to have them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so next we would like to introduce our PYP coordinator, Ms. Tilly Coyle.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So I have a similar situation. My two boys, well, my oldest just graduated, Monarch, George, he's going into 6th grade. And then I have a younger one who will be going into 3rd grade. And I think I forgot to tell them I have this call. So I'm waiting for them to bust in at any given moment, hopefully not in the next minute or two. So my role at Monarch Academy is I am the curriculum coordinator. And as you might already know, we are in the process of becoming an authorized international baccalaureate IB school. We implement what they call is the primary years program. This is IB at the elementary level. There is IB throughout Anne Arundel County Public Schools. We have middle years programs, and of course the one that everyone's the most familiar with, diploma program. So let's see. First of all, I wanted to put out into the chat our inquiry website, which has a bunch of links into what it means to be a primary years program school. There is a link to our program of inquiry. Yep, Brandon, you got it. Our program of inquiry, now this is from last year. We're doing a lot of adaptations, actually, really, as we speak. The teachers are back to planning adaptations for e-learning. And then you also just have some really great, so that program of inquiry that's on there is going to be last year's, but very similar. And then, of course, you have a lot of IB PYP resources. But the website will give you a lot of flavor of what it means for us in terms of being an inquiry-based school. So I've also put up my email on the chat because I know that there usually are a lot of questions, follow-up questions at these open houses about what it means to have a primary years program curriculum. And I already see a question. Okay, what is the difference? Well, first I want to backtrack because I wanted to tell you a little bit about me. I was one of the initial IB PYP coordinators in Anne Arundel County Public Schools in 2011 when the county first rolled out the program in a few schools. So that's a little bit about my background. I became interested in IB through an experience teaching abroad. At the time I was teaching high school level science. Went to graduate school, learned about this rich curriculum that they do at the elementary level, and I fell in love with it. Love the younger kids too. So, but anyhow, so on to a little bit about what makes IB what makes our curriculum different. I think the things that you need to know right away is that we use an inquiry-based approach. Okay, and what that means is, we believe. We don't want to tell the kids what to think. We want to teach them to think. So when we do an inquiry-based approach, sometimes we'll start a unit with maybe giving them a problem to solve or do something to provoke their curiosity. And we try and get their inputs first. We want them to ask the questions, and then we want to help guide them in answering those questions. So there's a lot of, because we're, again, trying to work with these thinking skills. So in addition to maybe having just something that's more interactive, active type of learning, hands-on, we do a lot of just, how do you learn best and why? Let's reflect. How do we know? Let's think about evidence. So really helping them put the pieces together. There's a big reflection component. So there's that piece, and that's part of the approach that we use is inquiry-based learning in the classroom. Now, in terms of other things that make us different, okay, International Baccalaureate, we have a mission that's education, you know, a better world through education. We teach local and global perspectives. That's part of what we call international mindedness. And then, of course, we put a huge value on second language learning. So we embrace our ESOL students because they are the language rock stars in coming to us and you know, learning English as a second language and being a part of our curriculum. And then we embrace Spanish, and we embrace it. We're going to have our Spanish classes, but then culturally as a school, you know, we value the language learning. And so the teachers, you know, we are all learning Spanish together. So we're embarking on embracing Spanish more and more, just as like, this is the second language of our school. So there's the inquiry-based approach, international mindedness. And then the third piece is that we work with these units of inquiry, and they're under transdisciplinary themes. So rather than your student having a school day that is very blocked out, you know, social studies time, science time, we've actually taken those standards and created these transdisciplinary units with those single subject standards, but we've put them together so that the kids can learn content but make connections with the world. So for instance, you know, a transdisciplinary theme will be, one of them is called Who We Are. And it can be, and it is a lot about identity, but it might be about your biological identity, and we'll learn about cells. And then, or it might be who we are, how you are in a community. It'll change grade level to grade level, depending on the standards for that grade level. But our experience and the reason behind doing transdisciplinary learning is because when a child goes out into the world, they don't see just math. They don't see just science, just social studies. They see how these different disciplines are connected to one another. So, you know, we're using the real world as much as possible. So that's the other major piece. Now, these inquiry units often end in a culminating activity or summative assessment. We like to encourage kids to take action. That you know, there is the action, sort of the so what of learning. So if we're doing a big unit on sharing the planet and it's about water and conservation, part of our flavor at Monarch Annapolis and creating a better world through education is that that child will go home and maybe make everyone turn off the water in between doing dishes, take shorter showers, or, you know, do something as a result of what they've learned. So that's a big piece of it. Now, I just want to comment, because I know this is the first open house that so many of you here are, you know, likely well, interested in this whole first semester online. Many of you here are probably here for the e-virtual learning as well. Our transdisciplinary theme approach is really, that I think set us apart this past spring, is that first, you know, we're asking these questions and we're asking the kids to use the world around them. Like, the world is their classroom, which was beneficial in the online scenario. And then we're also, we're able to blend the subjects in a more cohesive way. We don't usually, you know, math tends to be very standalone, but we will encourage our students, you know, we'll bring writing a lot into their units. Like, you know, third grade has a unit about, citizenship and how citizens express their opinions. It's a lot about voting, the election cycle. And they have a writer's workshop unit that's on persuasive writing, opinion writing, persuasive writing. So we'll do our best to match those things up so that things are as connected and cohesive as possible. And again, in the e-learning environment, this was good. It's good for you as parents, because you know, your head's not on a swivel where, like, okay, we're doing this in this subject and then it changes in that subject. They're working, usually they'll have a literacy, math, and then an inquiry block or an inquiry question that we'll link our interactive read alouds to. It kind of anchors things. So I think I've kind of gone on a little bit too long, but I can take the question about the 100% virtual learning now, or we can wait. What do you think, Brandon? I'm just looking at the chat.
Go ahead, Tilly, because I know you had 6:30.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. So I do encourage, I left my email up there, okay, mscoyle@aacps.org, and I'm happy to follow up, answer your questions that you don't get answered tonight. Okay, so let's see, with the 100% virtual learning. So we're still working out, we've got lots, we're percolating so many big ideas in terms of like, okay, what are the manipulative type of things that a child's gonna need during a unit, and we're working that piece out. But I'm gonna give you some examples from last spring. We work a lot sometimes, or last spring we did with choice boards. So a choice board might be, you might have something like 6, 9, 12 tiles, and a student will get to choose the hands-on activity that they want to do. And you might choose something that's a little bit more, depending on the materials you have at the house. So that's part of why we did the choice boards. 5th grade did an excellent unit. It was their sharing the planet. Struggle occurs when there is not enough. And they talk a lot about water, our access to water, water in the, access to water, how we access water on Earth, among some other things. But they happen to also be reading A Long Walk to Water. So there was a large social studies component into how countries work in different types of government when we have shortages. But then there was a huge amount of science that went into that unit, because we talked about germs and pathogens, specifically the pathogens that the main characters of A Long Walk to Water experienced. So, and then we're also drawing off, the real world event that we have a pandemic. So, different types of pathogens, from virus to bacteria to small microorganisms. So within that, you can see how the transdisciplinarity is coming through, okay, that we have, and they had a big choice board with a lot of different science experiments. And a child could do all of them, but there would be a minimum, the teacher would set a minimum expectations. I mean, the expectations are going to go up this fall. Things are going to be looking different than last spring, because for many different reasons, we have more time to plan. And but there was, there's a choice element there, but then a child who is extremely interested can continue going with the questions that they want to have answered, or any piece of the choice board that was really, really interesting to them. The choice board also often asks a student, maybe it gives them choice, inquiry. Usually we like to say kids get a lot of voice and choice. It gives them an opportunity to explore what they want to do, which always, always, always lends itself to a better learning and higher quality learning experience when, a child gets to choose. So some of the products we had from there were super fun. They were making most wanted signs for different pathogens using Wixie. They were mystery science experiments on using germs, and a really good science experiment that was great for how we best apply hand sanitizer, that was using a washable paint, and they could take pictures, send it to their teacher. And then lastly, this 5th grade just did a wonderful thing. Between like the 4 sections that we had, they actually did a walking challenge. This was excellent because it got our kids outside. We're looking to give them challenges and tasks that take them away from the screen. They can document them, they can come back and talk about it as a class. So in this case, they did a Long Walk to Water walking challenge, where the students within a week's time were challenged to do 50 miles per class. Now the entire class went way over that. I mean, they went, I think our final tally between all the classes was over 260 miles. And these are, each individual student counted their miles. But the kids also did something kind of fun. They worked with these 40 gallons, or they created the same weight that the characters in Long Walk to Water carried. Usually they're the containers that hold 40 pounds of water. So a few students, parents documented them and how long they walked carrying 40 pounds. So they got to really experience in a real way what that was like. So that's a good example. We had a great text to really engage the kids with. We got our science and social studies very well covered, and I used fifth grade as an example. The teachers did such an excellent job collaborating and implementing this, but their attendance was really high. So I think we really saw that, we see the connection, when we get it right and we get these engaging PYP units, the kids are there. They come in, day out. I, again, have multiple kids in the school. So another fun thing for me was my second grader would listen to the Long Walk to Water chapters with my fifth grader. And that was a great experience as well. So, all right. So those are my examples. Again, just please reach out. And
Thanks, Tilly.
no problem.
All right. So next, I would like to introduce to you our assistant principal, Brad Clapper.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brad Clapper, and I am one of the assistant principals at Monarch Annapolis. I actually just finished my first year as an assistant principal. I'll be starting my second year here in the fall. I have experience in the county. Previously, I was a fifth grade teacher for 7 years, 6 of those up at Brooklyn Park Elementary, 1 year in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania prior to that. And I was also a Title I math teacher at Belgrove Elementary, which is up in North County as well. So a lot of experience up in North County and in the county overall. I have been incredibly excited to be at Monarch Annapolis this past year and looking forward to year 2 on it. One of the things I absolutely love about our school is that we give every student opportunity to find some success for them. We do that through our arts enhancement, where we're looking at the arts not only as a class that our kids are taking, but also something they can really get into and really kind of push beyond just the one experience. We have an amazing instrumental teacher, Miss Christine Brimhall, who does some incredible things like our bucket band program, but a lot of really cool stuff that our kids get to do. And we really believe that success looks differently for every student, where some kids might have their favorite subject be math, other kids love guided reading. We want to encourage every student to find something that they enjoy doing that is a success for them. So could be something in PE, could be in chorus, could be singing, could be in the art classes. But we want every single student in that building to find a success for them. And that's great because we have so many different kids and so many different interests, and our staff is able to support that and really encourage them to find things that they're interested in. I also really like that we have an ownership mindset with things. We want our kids to really take what they're doing, as Ms. Coyle said a moment ago, and really make it important for them. Our school goes way beyond just the city of Annapolis and way beyond just what they're doing in Anne Arundel County. We want our kids to see that what they do does matter and how they can impact things beyond just what they're used to in their current lives. So I love that we're able to support that and kind of push for those experiences. We have done some incredible things, and we have a lot of great ideas and moving forward on it. And it is a wonderful place to be for our students. So thank you again for joining us here this evening, and I look forward to meeting you all.
Thanks, Mr. Clapper. And next, I would like to introduce to you our new assistant principal, Mr. Shay Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to introduce myself to you all. This is my first year here at Monarch, so for some of the new people that's coming in, we'll be learning this awesome environment together. This is my 21st year of experience. This will be my 7th year as an assistant principal. I've served as an assistant principal for Washington, D.C. charter schools and Prince George's County Public Schools charter schools. So I'm excited to be a part of Anne Arundel County. I live in Anne Arundel County, and it's been a dream of mine to become a leader in this environment of Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So I want to just let you all know that I am extremely excited about being a part of this community.
I'm charging, that's not me.
So I just want to say thank you all for allowing me. I want to share one of the reasons that I came to Monarch, and it was the focus of the well-being. Once I got an opportunity to meet this awesome leadership team and the awesome staff, the focus on well-being is just
You can't just
exciting
saying that you're awesome. You have to actually demonstrate
to
it.
share with the kids and making sure every day that their well-being is where it needs to be. As Ms. Johnson said earlier, that if the student's well-being is not in order, how will they learn? So to be a part of an awesome leadership team and then be a part of the social emotional learning team, a student's well-being, but not only the students, as Ms. Tatiana said earlier, the community, the well-being of the community. So far, we've been having food drives. They've been out in the community, and that's extremely exciting to me to be a part of this community. So I look forward to growing with you all, getting to know everybody, and having an awesome school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And I've had the opportunity to work alongside Mr. Johnson over the last couple of weeks, and I think that everybody is going to be excited to have him as an addition to our team. All right, and next I would like to introduce our principal, Ms. Rachel Amstutz.
Good evening again. It's my pleasure to kind of pull together all of the information that you've heard from our team. Monarch Academy Annapolis is a very, very special place, and we are very excited to share with you what makes it unique and what makes it the right fit for your child, perhaps. So there are a lot of points that I could speak to, but I've kind of narrowed it down to about 4 or 5 or so. But basically, we've mentioned to you that we are a school of choice, a contract school in the Annapolis area. We were contracted to provide 2 specific things in the city of Annapolis, and that is the IB continuum, the PYP program that you heard Ms. Coyle speak about, and also a primary performing and visual arts environment for our students. So both of these are coming alive together, and they're merging to provide students this incredible way to process learning and to engage deeply and to be able to learn to communicate that. You'll see that we are powered by Transformation Education, and that is through our alliance with the Children's Guild. So there are 8 key points that you'll learn over the time that you're with us about that, but some of the highlights would be our emphasis on brain literacy and teaching children how to use their brain and how it works, and to help them become strong learners. We've mentioned the arts integration. You saw at the video at the very beginning, the beautiful murals and just the indoor and outdoor features of our school that are intentionally designed to captivate children's minds and to give them things to be curious about. They're taking in a lot when they're in our hallways or when they're all around our school in the cafeteria and everywhere. And our playgrounds, if you haven't been by school, it's worth a drive by just to see those amazing playgrounds. The kids love being able to spend time out there. So we recognize that we need to provide a very well-rounded education. And so that's whether we're in school or we're virtual. So we've been working this summer to prepare our teachers for the virtual learning experience. In fact, effective today at 5 p.m., 19 of us are in a Harvard course about designing online teaching and learning that is exceptional and meets the needs of primary grade students. We've been doing a lot of these types of experiences all summer to be able to get ready for the virtual learning experience. We have a few new focus areas that we've been working on in the past year. We talked about pre-K coming to our school, and with that, we have a big focus on the primary grades. We want to make sure that they are developmentally appropriate. We're working with a consultant to help us with this, and we've hired 2 amazing pre-K teachers who really will launch our pre-K program to be incredibly child-centered. I've charged them with not only do I want rigorous academics, but I want to hear these kids belly laughing and giggling. I want to see them playing and building and knocking things over and collaborating. And we really are working to make sure that primary school grades feel like primary, whether it's online or in person. We've mentioned several features tonight about our intense and intentional focus on social emotional learning. So even before the pandemic, we all knew social emotional learning was important. our county is rolling out a new curriculum, and that's what helped lead us to the new course that we're launching. But at our school, we've taken some time to really study the needs of our students and the needs of students around the country right now. And we recognize that we need to grow these skills in students and provide time for them to practice social emotional skills and to develop into very healthy, well-rounded students who can collaborate with others. So that's why we have the new course canopy. For that reason, we've also added a Dean of Culture. Dr. George Hodge has joined our team, who will support a lot of the social emotional sides of things. Mrs. Johnson is very intentional in crafting our school guidance program, and she mentioned to you about educating the heart and the mind and the pillars of emotional intelligence that she works on with our students. So you will see that we are adding staffing to support this and time in the day to help students develop this. You've heard a lot about our actual teaching and learning with the PYP curriculum and inquiry-based strategies. In the shutdown this year, we infused also the iReady curriculum in addition to the iReady assessments. And that was intentional because it was differentiated to each child's specific needs. It could remediate or extend their learning in each skill based on their need. It's one tool in our toolbox to be able to support and differentiate our programming to students' actual and specific needs. And additionally, this year, we've increased our staffing in our arts programs so that we're able to continue to grow our performing and visual arts programs. We've increased our arts teachers and our music teachers so that they can collaborate with classroom teachers to create these learning experiences that are arts integrated and other opportunities. So you haven't heard too much, but we do offer a lot of clubs, whether virtual or in person when we're allowed to be in person. During the shutdown, we had about 15 to 20 e-clubs that included many different opportunities, whether it was watching baby chickens hatch and grow and become large chickens and learn about the chicken life, or we had a couple other animals that were available on the farm that we had. We had an aviation club, we had a nature club. Students could learn how to make yeast to be able to cook with it, but and it ended with a final club where a local judge came with us and put Goldilocks on trial to decide if she'd broken any laws. And we learned about the judicial system, and it was such a powerful experience. So we plan to continue to grow those and to make those available even more so in the coming year, when we know that we've got a lot of students who are looking for more exciting and interesting ways to stay busy while they are at home. Finally, I'll mention that we have expanded our focus on our gifted and talented pathways, and that we offer what Anne Arundel County offers and more. We follow the same screening process, and we follow the same identification timelines and processes, but we're also expanding gifted and talented throughout all of our grades. It is a work in process. It takes time to do this work, but we are intentionally collaborating with a consultant to expand our skill set in working with, growing, and nurturing talent in young children. So there's a lot going on at our school. It is a pretty neat place to be, and there's just constantly new learning happening. We have a big focus on the relationships and getting to know both our students and our families. So I see some questions popping up about PTA. Yes, we do have a PTA, and we can absolutely connect people with the PTA and get you linked up with them. We're very eager to have volunteers and to truly partner with our parents in the education of our students. So with that, we know you have a lot more questions. So I guess, Brandon, I will pass it back to you and we can hit some of the questions.
Yeah, so we'll open it up to Q&A. We're right at the hour mark. So we'll open it up to questions and answers. I'm currently actually replying to a couple of parents that had questions about registration. But feel free to ask your questions in the chat. And also, if there's some availability, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions to the group.
So Brandon, I'm also getting a lot privately. So just for time's sake, I'm gonna just call them out and then we can kind of answer them as a team. I'm getting a lot about the 3-year-olds. So as of right now, we only have pre-K 4. So meaning they have to be 4 by September 1st. We don't unfortunately have a 3-year-old pre-K program at our school. Yes, we do have sister Monarch schools, the Glen Burnie and Laurel, but we don't have, we don't do like transfer to transfers. I'm getting questions like if they can go to the Glen Burnie one after they leave ours. So you would have to apply just like you would apply for our school. We don't transfer from one school to another. It's a separate application. If you have any questions about your registration, we are in the building Monday through Thursday. You can give us a call tomorrow during office hours. We can look up your student's status and make sure we have everything that we need. What else do we got? Oh man, I just got 10 messages, 11. What grades do the gifted and talented go up to? Rachel, do you want to chime in on that one?
Yep, and I just posted a little bit about that, but basically in Anne Arundel County, the kindergarten, first and second grade years engage in something called primary talent development. And in that time, the teachers are keeping a portfolio of the students' work, and it culminates with an assessment that includes the portfolio as well as an actual assessment to determine if a student is deemed advanced or gifted and talented. There's another screening in 5th grade to pick up any students who weren't with us in Anne Arundel County at that time, or anybody who may not have made it into the pool in 2nd grade. Based on the state programming, any student that can move at the pace of the gifted and talented, the coursework that's being offered for them can participate. We will never hold a child back from being able to engage in that work. But it is mandated that students who have qualified as gifted and talented, that they receive the programming that is at least 2 years above grade level.
Another question about registration. Oh, this is about IEPs. As far as IEPs, do you want to clarify, Rachel, as far as like how we take IEPs and how we assess them to make sure we can accommodate their needs?
Sure. When students register, it comes across in the file if they do have an IEP, and then the registration team sends that to me so that our team can review the IEP and determine if our school is able to provide the services on an IEP. If we are not able, we will reach out to the family and let them know about that and explain that process with them. But broadly, we do have 4 special educators and a full-time speech teacher, and we are able to implement the majority of IEPs. But it is on a case-by-case review of the IEP.
It says, do in registration first come first serve, do previous students get precedence? So if they're not currently enrolled, I believe they just have to apply again. We do have a great siblings policy though. So if you have a 3rd grader and an incoming kindergartner, they do get precedence to get in through our siblings policy. But if they assisted in, let's say, kindergarten, and now they're coming back in 3rd grade, they wouldn't necessarily get precedence. They would just get in line. Let me see. Parent references available. Rachel?
So not that I'm aware of besides the parents who have spoken tonight. But
we're parents. We love it. Our kids go there. School demographics. Can you talk about school demographics and school performance and ratings?
So the school demographics, we have a great mix of students in our building on every type of demographic that you could look at. We do qualify for targeted Title I. Mr. Clapper, could you explain that piece? You're almost off mute. I see.
Yes, I was. Sorry, it took a second to get it. So we are a targeted Title I school, as Ms. Amstead said, and what that means is it's based on the percentage of students that receive free meal status. So you often will hear farms free and reduced status. Title I is only determined based on the percentage of free students for the lunch. And this year, we're about 48% overall of our students that qualified for the free lunch. So what happens then is our Title I program is staffed with a few people. We have a Title I math teacher and also Title I reading teacher and a few teaching assistants as well. Those staff members are able to work with any student that is listed as a Title I student if they meet certain criteria within that range. So the team actually will do screenings of every student in both reading and math, and then they determine groups they work with. So it could be small group intervention. It also would be supporting classroom teachers to give them additional strategies and work with them, kind of like from a coaching model. So it's a huge benefit for us to have the Title I status, because then it gives us a lot more resources.
And then another student population that we do have in our school would be English language learners. So we do have about 20% of our population, and it's a variety of languages, but with a predominant language of Spanish. And then the second part of that question, I believe, was on school performance. So MSDE does have school data on all schools on their websites. There was no testing done this year, so there's no updated testing. And prior to that, the school had only been in existence for 2 school years. So there's only a limited amount of data that is available that's out there just because we're a bit of a younger school.
Okay. So as far as e-learning, I'm getting a couple questions about what a typical day would look like, how much screen time they're looking at, basically what a typical schedule would look like for e-learning.
So if you remember that elephant in the schoolhouse slide, this is where part of it, we are waiting for guidance from Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So we are on the charter contract side of the house with Anne Arundel County, but we are required to follow some of the procedural and structural things, especially things like the teachers union's contract in terms of the number of hours that teachers work. We have not been given that officially. For our eSchool students, our team has been mapping out what they believe to be an ideal model, but we are waiting to make sure that it fits within what Anne Arundel County is going to decide as or identify as the way that virtual learning will work in the fall. We will need to align ourselves to that in the fall. I assume that there will be something like that midday break again, which would allow families to be able to get lunch and maybe have a brain break and play a little bit. But broadly, we envision in the morning, every class, eSchool or our virtual in-school seats will start with morning meeting, just like it would in a regular school day. And so our school begins at 8:30 for students. So you can plan on about a 20-minute live morning meeting that follows 4 structures. We use morning meeting to teach social skills like greetings and introducing themselves and turn taking. We also share and get to build community, and then we prepare students for what the academics of the day are going to be like. In our perfect model, if it fits with the county, we would have a mix of live instruction and live small group instruction in the morning, a lunch break, recess break, if you will, a movement break, and then in the afternoon, we envision again reconvening for live instruction and small group instruction in the afternoon. Our school day does end at 2:55, and also in that day, your child would experience a cultural arts class, so art, music, PE, media, or Canopy, our arts integrated social emotional class, and so that would be one of those every day of the week. We will have more information of what it will look like once we know Anne Arundel County's plan, but we have heard from them that attendance matters, that it counts every day and will be recorded every day, that daily attendance is expected, and that we resume our normal grading policy in the fall, whereas it was relaxed in the spring. So we're kind of waiting to get a little bit more information about that to be able to give you a precise schedule or outline of the day.
Okay, one question they had is, do we have to reapply every year? No, you don't have to reapply every year. Physical exams, I got a couple questions about people waiting on physical exams from their doctors. As long as we have the shot records, we can register. We would just need those physical exams given to us before their first day. 2 questions for the team. One is Common Core part of our curriculum and how is it merged together? And the other one is, will eSchool have their in-house days before the actual county opens up for the transition back?
And I can probably take both of those. We are tied to Anne Arundel County in terms of when the health department and the county schools decide that we can open. So at this point, our in-school days for eSchool are on hold until the county says that we're allowed to bring students into the building. And in terms of standards, it's a pretty fascinating process, but yes, Common Core state standards, which are now the Maryland state standards again, basically we craft our units, and literally this week, Ms. Coyle engaged with this with our pre-K team, writing new units. We take the state standards for the grade level, so say pre-K for reading, writing, math, science, social studies, all of it, and we cut them apart and we reorganize them, quite literally, cut them apart and reorganize them into 6 units. Those are the standards that help us form and shape our units to make sure that your students get a full year's worth of learning at our school. They are just reorganized into those 6 transdisciplinary units that the PYP created, like sharing our planet or where we are in place and time. And so it hits all of those standards. And for math, we do use the assessments. I saw a question about assessments. We use county assessments because we also use the county math curriculum. For reading, we use the Fontes and Pinnell system. If you're in another Anne Arundel County school, you've heard your child's reading level categorized by a letter of the alphabet. We use that as well. And then we use other assessments, including our iReady diagnostic, which actually gives us a grade level equivalent score for your student and helps us identify if there are any deficits or areas of strength that we can be able to target those. But you can expect that all of the standards identified by Maryland for each grade are merged into those units of study, and they're usually quite engaging units. Math is the one that's the hardest to weave in. Sometimes you just got to teach fractions when you got to teach fractions. It doesn't quite fit into a unit as well as some other of the topic areas.
Okay, so you answered that. So if they are in the eSchool program, and then once we open up in January and they want to come to the brick and mortar, can they switch over?
So if the plan is long-term to be in the brick and mortar building, you're going to want to sign up for a brick and mortar seat. eSchool is intended long-term to be a virtual option for families that are looking for that long-term part of it. If they were to switch over, you're going to be subjecting your child to a brand new teacher, a brand new peer group, and that's a lot of transition in the middle of the year. So we can work with families on a case-by-case scenario, but it will depend on the number of seats that are open both in eSchool and in the in-school. We really try to keep our class sizes at a good level, and we can't just say that we could move 30 students over. We might not have seats for that. So if you think that you're looking for an in-school option whenever it is available, registering for the regular school in-school would be your best bet.
Okay, quick question. This one's quick. Is this presentation going to be able to be viewed after right now, Brandon? Somebody wants to be able to show this to their spouse.
Yes, I replied. So I'll send out this recording before the week is over, and it'll also be available on our website.
Okay, so another question, tuition if you are out of county, if you want to attend Monarch Annapolis.
Sure, and that is set by Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and it is paid directly to Anne Arundel County Public Schools. We wouldn't see that. The out-of-county rates, if you could reach out to me directly, I could get you in touch with last year's information. I haven't seen this year's yet, but I would imagine it would be similar. So you can definitely let us know if you're looking for that.
Okay, class sizes. Do you have an idea about class sizes?
So it's different by grade level. In the lower grades, in pre-K and kinder, we operate with 1 teacher and 1 TA in the classroom at all times. And so we keep those rooms at 20, which is what the rest of the county does. In first grade, second grade, we're usually around 22 or so. In second or third and fourth, usually 23, 24. And then by 5th grade, we really try to keep it around 25, and we try hard not to go over that. We find that those are good numbers for our class sizes.
Okay. What happens if we don't want our children to go back to school? I would suggest then you get a seat in the eSchool if you want to do a whole school year of online learning. If you applied for the brick and mortar, we could just, if you reach out to us, we can get a link to you that brings you over onto a seat for the eSchool.
The other piece on that one that I would recommend is kind of following the superintendent's information releases to the public. We will be getting more information about what that will look like and what options will be available to families as we begin to transition back into school. So as we've seen in neighboring counties and in neighboring states, sometimes there is just an option for parents to do that. So that's another one of those elephant in the schoolhouse moments where we don't have all of that information just yet, but it might be an option that is available to families in the county down the road also.
One question I'm getting about flexibility. What is our flexibility for e-learning in general if we have parents that work different shifts or work maybe at night and sleep during the day? Like how are we going to be accommodating to those families?
So in terms of the whole school, we're waiting on Anne Arundel County's guidance of what that means regarding attendance. We've only heard what you have heard, which is that attendance is being measured daily. We don't know what that looks like. So I'm afraid I can't totally answer that question right now. It's kind of dependent on how they choose to mark attendance. In the spring, everybody, the whole county and our school were very accommodating to try to help mitigate some of the challenges. We understand that in the fall, the expectation for a full year of learning comes back into play. And so we're trying to get more information about that and how that will work in the fall. So right now, I don't have enough information to answer that question.
Okay. One question I can answer real quick about supplies, and you, I believe, answered a little bit about it earlier. Yes, we do provide Chromebooks for our students, as well as I believe we are doing basic supplies, correct, Rachel?
We are basic and some e-learning tools like math manipulatives and whiteboards so you can show your teacher, and some pinch cards, some things that'll make e-learning a bit easier for everybody.
Okay. How will families be able to access material in their students' reading level?
Can you say that one again?
So I believe the question is like, how are families going to have access to the appropriate reading levels for their students? I guess as far as like books and work and support.
So that's another question we're waiting on. We're looking at some options that would let us use the guided reading books that we use in the school, which are leveled to students' needs. We're looking at options that are digital for those that would allow the teacher to show it to the child and also assign it to the child. And so those are definitely targeted and differentiated to the reading level. But we also subscribe to a variety of resources that let teachers target and assign certain levels of tasks to students. So iReady does that, and some of our other website sources that we subscribe to allow us to differentiate and tailor the reading level to make sure that students can access it. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're growing the students' reading skills to get them at grade level.
Will we be doing a new family orientation?
Is Miss Johnson still on the call?
Nikki.
I'm still here.
Thank you. We usually tag team on something like this, or what are you thinking?
So I do have some ideas about some virtual things to do with parents and families. Let me make sure I have the question clear. Repeat the question again, Tatiana.
It just, are we planning on having a new family orientation?
Yeah, I think we can do some things. We want to make sure that our scholars and our families, but definitely our children come in and feel welcome, especially when you think about our kindergarten students coming into school for the first time and you're coming in virtually. It can be a little scary, and the unknown is, can cause a level of anxiety. So we have our wheels turning, and we're going to think of some things that we can do to offer to different grade levels just to help them come in and build those relationship skills. So I think the answer to that would be yes, we are going to provide something.
All right. I think if anyone has any questions they want to call out, I'm trying to go, my chat keeps going up and down as questions keep coming in, so I'm losing where I'm at. So if anyone has any questions.
One about Wi-Fi. So yes, you can access Wi-Fi at school parking lots if you don't have internet access, but we also in the spring were able to support families who needed support with this. So we did hotspots and we're also exploring some sponsorships. So if that's a need for your family, I encourage you to let us know that when you register so that we can help support you. But we want to make sure that your child's able to access the online instruction, and we'll help you find the best way to do that.
Rachel, is the eSchool going to go into the following school year as well, or is it just for this 1 year during COVID?
eSchool was designed to be a permanent feature. So, you know, this year it's weird that the rest of us are all in virtual, but it is designed to be there for you through 5th grade. So that we plan to continue the option even when the world returns to normal.
And I'll answer the question about the lottery. The lottery for 21-22, it will be in October. I would highly recommend that everyone stay up to date on the AACPS website. Last year, it was October the 14th or 15th, and it ended in November around the 20th or 21st. So it's only a month long. So you definitely want to participate. That increases your chances of getting accepted into the school.
Yes, there is a tuition for pre-K if you don't qualify, I believe. Is that correct, Rachel?
Yes, it is a $100 registration fee and $1,000 a month.
Okay. Anyone else want to unmute themselves? We would love to hear from some of the parents. I'm going to keep trying to go back through this and make sure I didn't miss anything. But now's your time, parents. You're part of the family now. Unmute.
I see 2 questions here. One about if classes will be recorded, and that's a yes. As much as possible, classes will be recorded and available for viewing later. If a student did miss a class, or if they just need to review and watch that again, it should be available. And so we also are looking at many ways to be able to stream things, like if we're doing the 20% in school once that's allowed, and a child isn't able to come, that we would be able to stream that to be able to allow children to engage in the content and the activity that's happening, but without having to be there.
Okay. If I don't have the actual eligibility requirements in front of me for pre-K, I could get those to you if you want to call me tomorrow at the school or reach out to one of us via email. We can, it is available on Anne Arundel County website. It's just it's under the early childhood education, I believe.
They can reach out to me directly, Tatiana.
Okay. You have the numbers?
I'm putting my email in the chat. So yeah. It's part of our application. So anybody that's interested in pre-K, once you apply through the AACPS website, you'll receive information from us on what the next steps are. And part of the process is selecting what category you're intending to apply for. And each category has an explanation of what the parameters are.
Yes, okay. If you have any questions as far as registration, I'm getting a lot of things about what's the next step. You can reach out to us or give us a call and we can look your student up and see where you are, make sure we have everything that we need from you. I just don't have that handy with me.
I'm seeing a couple of questions about the 20% time for the eSchool students, and I started typing a response and realized I had way more to say. So it's faster to just say it. So the 20%, once schools are open again and we're allowed in the building, the original plan for that is that it would be about a half a day a week, regularly scheduled, and that you would get a calendar the month ahead of time so that you can plan around those days. And that would provide that small group time with peers, the teachers there, and that there are activities and learning happening. But in addition to what the teacher is doing with the child there, that students would have access to the specialists in the school, that we're working hard to figure out what Band on Strings looks like virtually. And our amazing instrumental teacher, she did one-on-one lessons in the spring virtually. So we know that there are ways to make this work, but sometimes it's really nice to be part of the whole chorus or part of the whole band. So on those 20% days, they can do that. The other piece that we envision is that the mandatory must come in for school would be any state or county assessments that are required to be proctored by a teacher, and that they would need to come in on those days. And those tend to hit more in the spring when we have our MCAP assessments and our science assessment or some of the GT assessments. They kind of cluster a little bit more in the second half of the school year. And then one of the important pieces that we see the 20% time would be some of the unit, the culminating activities for a unit. So when we engage in a 6-week-long transdisciplinary unit of study, we want to come together and really do something to share all that learning that happened, and that those would be really great opportunities to be a part of the learning community together. And then finally, we want our eSchool students to know that they're Monarch Academy Annapolis students too. So if there is an assembly at school, or if there's a whole school event like field day, they would be able to come in for those opportunities as well.
Will we be providing transportation on those days for our eSchool kids?
Transportation would be provided for all in-school students at all of the various pickups around the county. We're not able to provide the half-day transportation on the eSchool days, but the student could likely join the bus for the coming in the morning, and then a parent would need to pick them up at the midday, or vice versa. Coming in the afternoon, the parent would drop off and could take a bus home in the afternoon. The midday part is when the family would need to be able to provide transportation.
Okay, somebody said something about where did it go? How do we incorporate environmental literacy into our curriculum? Something like that, I can't remember what it is.
So environmental literacy, if you've been in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, you know that that's an important thing for us. So we do all of the outdoor ed curriculum components that are written into the curriculum, and we participate in things like Arlington Echo and drown proofing. But in addition to that, we have an amazing outdoor classroom. So if you've seen our playground, you probably didn't notice that behind the soccer fields, there's a natural staircase down into an outdoor classroom. And the amazing folks over at Arlington Echo have helped train our team, and will continue to do that. That outdoor learning isn't just about, take a book outside and read it, that it's really about using nature to learn. And so we are eager to be able to get back into our building and on our property to continue that. And then a lot of our units actually do tie to some environmental components, especially in the Sharing the Planet transdisciplinary unit. It's a big component of the PYP program. So you'll definitely see elements of environmental literacy, even in the learnings and the units that the students are doing regularly.
Will we be using Google Classroom, or will it be a different platform that we use?
And that is the million-dollar question. So I would imagine that you can expect to see Google Classroom hanging around. We also are adding Seesaw for our primary grades learners, and Seesaw, I really, really like Seesaw. It's most appropriate for our youngest learners. And once they learn how to log in, they won't need you to type their responses or to help them answer their questions. They can hit a button and record their response to their teacher. They can draw or take a picture of their work. They have a lot more options to be able to represent their thinking and their answers in a more age-appropriate way. So what we envision, and we hope to be able to unveil to you very soon, is a very new way of distance learning, and a new look that organizes things a bit better. So we have some pretty talented folks, including Ms. Trost, who's on the call here, who's helping us create the whole virtual school, so that you've got things at one click, that you can find everything you need. And that includes the classroom learning space. So at the Children's Guild, we are working on creating a new, it's called a learning management system, and that would be Brightspace. But it looks like in the fall, Google Classroom will be our starting points. And the other piece, we do have an option to look at yet another tool. We're trying to evaluate those to make the best decision to make all of the online learning accessible and easier and less frustrating to find, that it's all in one place and that your child can find it, you can find it, and that it's easy to use and age appropriate.
Are assessments second grade and up?
Mr. Clapper, you want that one?
Absolutely. So in second grade, students begin taking what's called the COGAT assessment, and that's really kind of beginning test for determining gifted and talented status, and then beginning in 3rd grade, students start taking what's called the MCAP, and that's the Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. So that replaced what was commonly referred to as PART the last several years. Our 3rd, 4th, 5th graders are scheduled right now to take the MCAP, most likely in the April to early June timeframe. That's what we had scheduled for last year, and then COVID obviously changed that. But yes, 2nd grade has the COGAT assessment in January typically, and then 3rd, 4th, and 5th have the other assessments. 5th grade also does a science assessment in that window as well, usually in March.
And in the primary grades, we do more of screenings, like the DIBELS for early skills, and we do a lot.
Kindergarten has KRA usually in September, October.
And then we do the reading assessment, but that would be individual. The child is reading to the teacher directly as opposed to like a standardized testing classroom. And then I see a question that's probably a favorite, Mr. Clapper. You and I might have to duke it out, but I'll pass it to you if you want it, about Common Core Math and helping parents through the exciting and the fun of Common Core Math.
Absolutely. So I was a Title I math teacher for 4 years. The easiest explanation I can give you is if you have a specific math question, I can answer that for you individually. Every grade level is going to have other things that kind of fall into it. So specific ones I can take. Really what will happen though is they take the standards that are in Common Core. Many of those are the same standards that a lot of parents had learned for that skill set, but they do different approaches to it. Much of that being a little more hands-on, and that's kind of the approach we have. So you can expect to see a lot of hands-on instruction for the students using manipulatives, counters, things called tens and 5 frames, really something to build a structure for our students. So anything specific on that, please email me. Anywhere from kindergarten up to grade 5 I can help out with, and be happy to answer those as well. Another question just popped in was 504 plans. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Amazon.
A little bit more on math, and then I'll pass back to you for 504. For math,
Sure.
You will be getting a workbook that supports the Common Core Math that is taught at that grade level, and that's at home. I tend to find that the workbook is most helpful for parents because it shows you kind of the step-by-step process. And in the past, you might have only had one page that was ripped out or sent home, but now you would have the whole thing. I do encourage you, and maybe we should just set this up, Mr. Clapper. Both Mr. Clapper and I are former math teachers, and we both enjoy the conversations about helping you understand the Common Core Math. We will be providing tools to help. You will have a device called a communicator, which is a pocket that you can slip a piece of paper in, and your child can write on that in a wipe-off marker. And that's like the 10 frames that Mr. Clapper was talking about. You'll have those kinds of materials and some manipulatives depending on the grade level. So in 3rd grade, we introduce fractions. We're sending your child a set of the circle fractions to be able to understand how 8/8 equals 1 whole and how 4/4 equals 1 whole, that they'll be able to actually have that tangible item in front of them. And then our teachers obviously would be a great resource. And then you'll have the iReady Common Core book. So we are happy to help you and promise to support you through the what is sometimes challenging, but I assure you fun and beneficial in the long run part of Common Core Math. Mr. Clapper, you want the 504s?
Absolutely. There's a question about 504 plans. With our school, we do accept 504 plans just like any other school in Anne Arundel County. With the shutdown last year, we took those plans and then implemented the best we could over the virtual platform. So sometimes students have accommodations that just being online wouldn't necessarily allow us to be able to do that completely. So we made the best efforts we could, and that was the direction we were received on it. We haven't got any formal directions regarding the upcoming school year for 504. We do anticipate implementing them as much as we possibly can. We did still continue having meetings for students and families throughout the year as well, though. So I fully expect we are going to have some functionality with it. Whether or not every accommodation can be met through virtual, we try to do the best we can with it. So we do anticipate that moving forward, and we'll have more information on that hopefully very soon.
I wanted to mention too, just in my experience, when as a parent, I know the math can get tricky. They learned a lot different than what we learned. But through the e-learning that we just went through, I know that our team is very hands-on. If somebody were to reach out to me and say, he's just not getting it, he's very frustrated, it takes one email or phone call, and they'll have somebody, whether it's Mr. Clapper himself or Ms. Garrett, any of the interventionists, or just the teacher reaching out to them. So definitely know that they'll have a great support system. I know I used it myself. I pulled that mom card and I was like, I can't do this, I need help. And the kids always got a lot of really good help. So I think there was another question. Can a sibling attend pre-K outside of the Cat 1 or Cat 2 without a fee? Brandon? Anybody?
Oh, I was typing a response to that one if I was about to hit send. Essentially, siblings have priority on seats across our entire building, but the tuition-free seats are paid by the MSDE grant, and they are only available to students who are tuition eligible. So siblings have a priority to get a seat, but for the tuition ones, there is the fee if a family does not meet the income restriction.
Okay. Do we have an assistance for tuition?
We do not.
Okay. And then when will curriculums be available per grade for families?
So is Ms. Trost still on the line? We can post a link to last year's, and I saw that question posted a little bit earlier about kindergarten specifically. What happens in the summertime is kind of fine tuning and polishing the curriculum. We are writing pre-K from scratch, but for kindergarten, we can share with you what last year's units of study look like and how the curriculum was organized. And I can post a link in just a minute. For kindergarten through 5th grade, pre-K, they are literally writing it as we speak. They are writing it these weeks to develop the units, the engagements, the assessments. They're doing it all right now. But I will go find a link and post that for you with the K to 5 units from this past year.
Okay. Will we have the supply list released soon?
We anticipate that we will be able to provide the majority of the supplies. And so we also anticipate that those would be ready for pickup, I think, the last week of August, that everybody could swing by school and pick up their supplies. If there are any things beyond that, it's going to be very minor, but we're looking at the pencil, the paper, the crayons, the markers, the backpack itself, the whiteboards, we're looking at a lot of the manipulatives for the e-learning piece that will be giving you the vast majority of what we think you will need. But we'll be getting that out. We're placing the order very soon, and then we'll see if there's anything that we've not been able to purchase for the students and let people know that. But I do think we're going to be able to get you the vast majority of the supplies needed.
And just to let everyone know who hasn't visited our school, so when we say swing by and pick up, so we have pretty much 2 entrances. We have the main office entrance that you'll see by the flagpole where you have to ring the buzzer to come in. But when we say pick up, we have Monarch Landing, which is in the back. You would drive around to the rear of the school. That's where we do pick up and drop off, or our food drive, or Chromebook pickup, or anything that we ask you to come by the school and pick up. It would always be out back at Monarch Landing. Most during regular school year, all our events and stuff will be in the back through Monarch Landing. You would really only come through the main office if you were coming to see somebody and needed to sign in. If you're just picking up, it would always be in Monarch Landing. I think, what is the Summer Rocketeers program?
So the Summer Rocketeers program is for eSchool students, and it's a way to connect our e-learning students with the teachers and their peers this summer. It will kick off on Thursday, I believe, with the NASA Mars mission. And so you will get, thank you for the clarification question there, that'll limit my rambling. We will get a confirmation letter out to you hopefully tomorrow, and you'll get information about the times and the live instruction components and the launch and everything. That'll be coming out very soon. The 30th, I think, is the launch date when NASA is slated to take their first attempt at getting that mission launched. And so I think Yes, you'll know by the middle of this week. And yes, you are still able to register for that. You can feel free to, if you are in and registered and had applied as of last Friday, you would have gotten an email about it. And then we're hoping to be able to email anybody who applies this week to give folks that option as well. It will be open for families to continue registering, and students, even if they register in another week or so, we're still going to offer them the opportunity to join the learning.
Hey, I'll just make a comment on the tuition costs for pre-K. So pre-K was just announced over the last 2 weeks. We had discussions about it earlier in the school year, but because of the shutdown, it became an afterthought for the county. So within our leadership team, as well as some of the leaders at the Children's Guild, they advocated for the pre-K program, and recently it was approved. So information was sent out to get parents interested and to get some information from parents. But we are continuing to develop the registration process. So unfortunately, the tuition costs may not have been information that we know about a few weeks ago, but now we have that information.
And I can add to that, Brandon, that we're a school of choice for Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So it's the tuition that Anne Arundel County sets is for any Anne Arundel County student who lives beyond Anne Arundel County. It's not anything that we have control over. It's set by the county.
All right, so we are past the 7 o'clock end time that we had scheduled. I know we wanted to stay a little over to make sure we answered all of the questions, but for our families that joined us, we appreciate you joining us. And again, if you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us directly. That's all we have. So I know we want to make sure we answer all the questions, so we'll hang over for a few minutes to make sure we answer those. But for everyone else, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you for attending, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, Naya.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Candy, are you still on the call?
Yes.
Hey, Candy, the message you sent me, actually Miss Rachel or Brad can answer the question. Do you mind reading out your question, please?
Sure, 1 second. So my question was, when it's time to do the pickups for the students for their Chromebooks or their school supplies, are we able to, like, I have my sister and, well, two family members that are also enrolled in the school. Are we able to pick them up all as, like, in one pickup, or does each parent have to come?
If you authorize that they pick it up for you and let us know that they're going to be signing the technology loaner agreement form on your behalf, if that's good with you, we can absolutely work with that.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Candy.
Thank you.
And
You all have a good evening.
All right, you do the same. Was there anybody else on the call that still had a question? All right, I think it's safe to say we had a good open house, and I appreciate everyone for jumping on the call today to talk to families.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is it too late to register for the summer camp?
The summer camp is for students registered in the eSchool program, and it is not too late to do that. We can get you the link for that. If you are able to hang tight for just 1 second, I can paste it for you in the chat.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This is Hannah. I was wondering if I could purchase the things that would be used for the summer camp part for the eSchool, if I can purchase a second set.
In terms of the robot?
Yes.
We can definitely share that, the information. I don't have it tonight. I'm supposed to get it first thing tomorrow morning when we place our order tomorrow. We could definitely share that.
Okay, because I have a feeling that this one might feel left out.
You're gonna need more robots. Yeah. No, we can definitely get it for you. I know we've emailed a few times. If you could just email me that question, I will send it to you as soon as I have it from our summer school teacher.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Thank you, guys.
No problem. All right, is there any other questions?
Okay, so this is Angie again. I just asked about the summer camp. Now I have 2 new students that's coming to your school, and do I go on the website to register them for e-learning, eSchool? I'm sorry.
Are you already registered for? Are you already registered?
Yes.
All right, give me 1 second. What's your child's name?
The first one is LeVay Archibald, and the second one is Khalil Archibald.
All right, so yeah, I have you registered for brick and mortar. Are you interested in switching to eSchool?
Wait, you have me registered for what again?
Brick and mortar, in school.
In school? Okay,
Yeah,
so now for them to for this school year, they have to register for eSchool, right?
No, either or. So basically, all of our in-school students return to school once they're allowed to. All of our eSchool students will continue in the virtual environment.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they have to be registered into eSchool to participate in the summer camp, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, no, I want to keep them in school.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and if anything changes or if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Hi, this is Ms. Patel. I have a question. My son is already registered, but I'm not sure now. I just hear that is eSchool and the school in school. So how I do know that if he's in school or he's in his eSchool?
I can check for you now. What's his name?
Krishna Patel.
Christian.
Patel.
Can you spell the last name for me, please?
Patel.
So we have him registered for in school.
Okay.
Is that what you were interested in?
Yes, I want to keep it in school.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And again, if you have any more questions, please reach out to me, okay?
Sure.
All right, great.
All right. And do you prefer any time to call or something, or we can call any time during the school hour?
You can call me anytime. If I'm not available, I'll just leave me a voice message or send me a text and I'll get back to you as soon as I'm available.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I had a question about the robot, the bot. Will we be picking that up before the NASA launch program on Thursday, or will that be after that program?
I was just getting ready to type you a response. My fingers can't keep up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that the launch is the actual kickoff and building the bot will come a little bit later. So we are placing the order first thing tomorrow morning, but I don't think we need it. And then for any parents who can pick up, it can be picked up at school Monday through Thursday, 9 to 3. And for any parents who needed it brought to them, we will get it brought to them.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, if we had to have it by Thursday.
No. Thursday is going to be just that, get to know everybody, and hopefully NASA is able to move forward and there's no weather hiccups that stop the show for Thursday. But the bot building will come later, and the live interactions and teaching and learning will be broadly Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty awesome.
Huh?
It's going to be pretty awesome. So we will.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. We'll get more information out to everybody tomorrow with the details.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, anybody else still on the call for questions? All right, everyone. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to end the call. And again, this will be available on our website, hopefully by the end of the week. All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Brandon, there's one family that's reaching out to find out if they are registered for in-school or for eSchool.
What's the student's name?
I'm not sure of the student's name. I was going to see if I could forward you the message, but right now I can't. Hold on one second.
Brandon, this is Nikki. Before you guys get off, just because I know once you end the call, it'll take everybody off. Between you and Ms. Amstutz, can we make sure that it's put into writing clarity on what eSchool is versus brick and mortar? I think because the county has gone virtual for the first semester, it can be confusing, especially to new parents who don't have children in the school system at all. So if we could put into writing an explanation that explains eSchool, because that's unique to us, and then the difference between the fact that the county brick